All right, today we're going deep, I mean really deep, into the earth, right into the heart of the mythical forges of Svartalfheim. Now, this is not your average blacksmith's shop, not by a long shot. This is a place of pure alchemy, a place where the Dwarven smiths, they didn't just shape metal. Oh no, they were forging reality itself. And the whole thing, it really starts with a riddle.
So here's the central question, and it gets right to the very heart of their craft. How do you forge a chain from things that literally don't exist? I'm not just talking about creating something from nothing. I mean, how do you make something from things that are defined by the fact that they're absent? This was the exact challenge the gods threw at the dwarves. And you know what? Their answer? Well, it reveals the first major secret of their incredible forge.
Okay, so our first section is all about the impossible ingredient, about forging with paradox. See, the first rule of the Dwarven Forge was all about using these impossible ingredients. They just knew that to make something that could never, ever be broken, you couldn't play by the normal rules of physics. Nope, you had to step outside them completely and forge with paradox itself. And they did this using what are called absent things. Now, these aren't just, super rare materials, they're conceptual. We're talking about things whose power comes from the simple fact that they don't exist in our physical world. Their very absence, well, that's their greatest strength. Wild, right? And this is the perfect example. So to bind the monstrous wolf Fenrir, the dwarves had to forge this chain, Gleipnir. And just look at this shopping list. Every single ingredient is a paradox. The sound of a cat's footfall, there is no sound. The beard of a woman, doesn't exist. The roots of a mountain, nope. These absent things, they were literally woven together to make a chain that couldn't be broken by brute force because it wasn't made from physical stuff. It's such a brilliant take on creativity, right? Some problems can't be solved with muscle, they have to be outsmarted. So what this all boils down to is something pretty profound. The dwarves basically proved that the most powerful substance in the entire universe wasn't iron or gold, it was imagination. That was their most potent alloy. They took these abstract ideas, these concepts and paradoxes, and literally wove them into real, tangible, magical objects. Their minds, those were the real forges. It just goes to show you, sometimes the only limits on creation are the ones we put on ourselves. Okay, next up, enchanting the ordinary, or going from mundane to magical. Because it wasn't just about using impossible things. The dwarfs were also masters at transforming the most common, everyday materials you can think of into legendary artifacts. Just think about the story of Gullinbursti, right? The golden boar made for the god Freyr by those legendary dwarven brothers, Broker and Sindri. Its bristles glowed so brightly they could light up the darkest night. And what were they made of? Something incredibly simple, just some pigskin and a little bit of wire, that's it. But through their sheer skill, these mundane items were totally transformed, enchanted, and infused with this eternal divine light.
And this is such a key insight into how they saw the world. For them, the forge was this place where the normal rules just didn't apply. Organic matter could become a timeless, glowing artifact. I mean, they weren't just changing an object's shape. They were messing with its very soul, finding the divine spark hidden inside the ordinary. They were completely erasing the line between biology and metallurgy. So, of course, this leads us to the metals themselves, living metals, or gold and iron with a soul. You see, the gold and iron that came out of the dwarven forges, they weren't just dead, inert elements. They were alive. They were imbued with a spirit, with these mystical properties that made them the stuff of legend.
Their divine gold, for instance, wasn't something they just mined out of the ground. No, it was harvested. The myths call it the sweat of the mountains. And that's not just some pretty poetic phrase. It implies the metal was a living, breathing product of the earth itself, literally pulsing with its life force. I mean, just look at the properties of this stuff. For the goddess Sif, the sons of Ivaldi hammered gold so incredibly thin that it actually grew from her scalp, like real hair. Think about that. This wasn't jewelry. This was a living part of her. Their gold was responsive to its wearer's life force, it pulsed with the earth's energy, and it even acted as a conduit for the sun's power. It was literally alive. And it wasn't just gold. Their treatment of iron was every bit as mystical. The Poetic Edda suggests that when they tempered a blade, it wasn't just about heat and water. It was a full-on ritual, both chemical and spiritual. They'd quench the hot iron in things like dragon's blood or serpent's venom. And that didn't just harden the steel, it bonded the smith's own intention to the weapon, giving it a supernatural bite that could slice through anything, physical or otherwise.
But they didn't just stop with materials you could find on Earth. Oh no, the true masters, the Dakalfar, or Dark Elves, who are often seen as the most skilled of all the Dwarven kin, they reached way beyond our world. They started working with the very fabric of the cosmos itself. We're talking about capturing starlight and shadow. So you have the light elves, right? They worked with the bright, brilliant energy of the sun. But the dark elves, hidden away in their deep, underground forges, they learned to work with its total opposite. They harnessed something the myths call cold fire, this energy found in the deepest caves and even the vacuum of space. They were literally capturing starlight and shadow in their hammers. And the perfect demonstration of this cosmic mastery? The ring Draupnir. This thing wasn't just a static piece of jewelry. Every 9 nights, it would drip and create 8 new gold rings, all identical to the original. Now, just stop and think about what that actually means. It's a self-replicating object. This suggests the Smiths had mastered more than just metal. They had mastered the geometry of space and time itself. They literally forged an object that broke the laws of physics as we know them. So what you have to understand is that these smiths weren't just blacksmiths. They were like the quantum physicists of their mythological age. They didn't see materials for what they were, they saw them for what they could be. They were taking the fundamental building blocks of the entire universe and rearranging them with nothing but a hammer, a song, and a fire. They weren't just making things, they were rewriting the rules of reality. So what does this all leave us with? What's the Smiths' legacy? Really, it's a window into a worldview that saw the entire world as a place just brimming with hidden potential. And this really sums up their whole philosophy. For them, true creation was about blending what you can touch with what you can't. They believed that any object, literally anything, could have a soul. The entire natural world was this massive reservoir of untapped, hidden potential. Every single stone, every shadow held some kind of possibility, just waiting for a master to come along and unlock it. And that's the powerful, simple truth of the Dwarven Forge. It was the ultimate laboratory where ideas, where myth itself became real. It's where the whisper of a story could be hammered and forged until it became hard, unyielding, powerful matter. And so that leaves us with one final thought to chew on. The ancient Norse looked at their world and saw a place where something as impossible as the sound of a cat's footfall could be used to bind a monster. It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? If their most powerful, most potent alloy was pure imagination, what sort of impossible things are just waiting to be forged from all the hidden potential that's lying around in our own world?